It's out of our control. It's not like he wants to kill. He just doesn't want to die. You know what I'm saying? It's that situation when we are living in a war zone. I feel like I can represent my generation so much because I honestly did not care whether I lived or died. But now, I cannot die. I can't leave until this straight. You know, I'm not suicidal. I can't go until y'all really know what time it is. And then after that, boom, it's all over. And we can see, you know, how this fall. But that's how it is. And the reason being is because if I can't live free, if I can't live with the same respect as the next man, I don't want to be here. Because God has cursed me to see what life should be like.
I said we ain't no loafers, we ain't no poachers, we ain't no haters of self, we ain't no vultures. This ain't our culture. I said this ain't our culture. I said we ain't no loafers, we ain't no poachers, we ain't no haters of self, we ain't no vultures. This ain't our culture.
Listen up, listen up, listen up. I don't know if y'all hearing the words of those songs, but I'm telling y'all, this is not our culture. What y'all seeing, what we going through, this type of shit, this is not the wiggle. All right. So top of the top to y'all, first of all, and happy Malcolm Tuesday. You know, let's go ahead and knock this disclaimer out the box real fast. You know, you tapped into the top of the top with King Phillip, and this is one of the Make a Culture Move. This is under the Make a Culture Move podcast, where we talk about the issues within the Black and brown community that we are not saying anything about or we are not speaking up on. You know, and the thing is, those issues not being spoken up about has made them deadly and destructive. But, you know, our job is to talk about those issues. So we here this morning, and, you know, the thing is, we didn't have to go out and do a whole lot of research and find articles to back up what we're talking about, because our personal experience makes us the experts. All right, what we go through makes us the experts. We didn't have to do what those quote unquote experts are doing to make them the experts. So with that being said, if there's anything that make you feel some kind of way, all right, please take the time to reevaluate why what was said made you feel some kind of way. You do not have to wait and be like, ooh, I'm gonna give Phillip a piece of my mind. Ooh, I can't wait to see that nigga. Ooh, nah, do not do that, because I'm gonna just look at you like, this nigga's still here. This nigga's still here. Fuck. This nigga's. That's how I'm gonna look at you. You know what I mean? So don't waste your time. Don't waste mine. Do some self-evaluating and do that. You know what I mean? Because I said what I said at the end of the day. Period. All right. So you know, it's came to my attention that, you know, we talking about sex. You know what I mean? I didn't do a good job talking about sex with the fellas last Thursday. All right. So we have a few audibles in. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead and bring our guest host, who's going to definitely talk about these. Oh, shit. Hold on. 1 minute. Hold on. I almost forgot. Whew. I get excited about this stuff. I apologize. If you have not done so, go check out our website, makeachessmove.org. All right, there's a dope tab. You know what? I ain't gonna tell y'all about the dope tab. You know what I mean? It always seems that I'm telling y'all about the dope tab and stuff like that. But let me just go ahead and walk y'all through real fast. You know what I mean? This is our dope website that I'm always telling y'all about. You know what I mean? This website right here, we spend a whole lot of time and effort trying to build and develop this website out. But when you get to this spot right here, you know what I mean? You can do your scrolling, you can do what you want, you know what I mean? Do that and all that other stuff, but click the donation tab. Click the donation. Once you get to the donation tab, scroll all the way down. You can click donate today, but that's not what I'm saying. Scroll all the way down. Read the information too. It's good info, but scroll all the way down. We have a toolkit that is right here. Click the toolkit. Once you get to that toolkit, you can copy and paste this image with this text, and you can send it to your folks. You can send it to via Instagram, via text message, via all your social medias. You know what I mean? However you want to do it. You know, we got different images that you can send off to your friends and stuff like that, and to your partner. So that's why I always say, check out the website. It's dope. If you haven't, makeachessmove.org /Malcolm303. You know what I mean? Do that Facebook thing. I mean, Instagram /Macam303. All right, Twitter /Macam303, and check out the Pinterest thing /Macam303. All right, so now, I'm gonna go ahead and bring our guest host who's gonna talk to them. We're gonna get those questions for us, and we're gonna bring our guests out too. You know what I mean? All right, come on, Nishia J. Come on, my man Rocky. Come on, E Huff. You know what I mean? We in this thing. All right, we got one more guest who's coming in as well. But Nishia J, it's on you.
Yeah, so first, it's nice to see you guys this morning. And as you guys don't already know, I am Nishia J. I have been participating in these podcasts the last couple of weeks, and I've definitely enjoyed myself. But as far as what we're going to talk about today, before we dive into that, I did catch last Thursday's show, and it really seemed like, and I kind of suspected as much, but you guys kind of tiptoed around some stuff, which is okay because it seems like that's the whole point. That's what needs to be addressed. It's the hush hush about it, the uncomfortableness about it. Like everybody's okay with having sex, but nobody's okay with talking about sex. And the bigger thing that I noticed on Thursday is that nobody wanted to address the elephant in the room, which is that there is a clear double standard when it comes to our attitudes about sex with males versus females. So before we really jump into a lot of our stuff, I'd like to know why that is. We need to start there before we can get into anything else. Any one of y'all? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So we need to talk about this double standard before we get into the real fun and nitty gritty of sex itself. We need to talk about these attitudes towards sex with men versus women, because there was a lot of like female bashing going on. Like, oh, Cardi B is setting this bad example, and oh, women do this and they do that, and I just find it very, very interesting because it's like you men, you black men, our black men, right? You guys are the white people of black people. Because you guys walk around with a lot of privilege, a lot of entitlement. You guys get to tell everybody what to do, how to do it, where to tell it at. And you never bring any repercussions back to yourself. Like one of the guests that was on there last week made a couple of references about Cardi B and how aggressive she is and stuff. But it's like she didn't get that famous like that for dancing in front of females. She got that from men, where it's like you say you're disgusted by the woman that is twerking on Facebook, but you're watching her video, or you want the girl that's real simple and sweet and calm, like Aisha Curry up at the house taking care of your kids and dealing with your house, but you inboxing the female like Cardi B, asking her what that mouth do. Like, you guys are confusing. Like, we just, as females, as a representative for the females, we want y'all to make it make sense for us, because it doesn't. You got all these rules for like things that I need to do or be made presentable so that I can be wife material. But then you get a wife and she's supposed to be humble and quiet and whatnot, but you want her to fuck you the way I would. And I'm the one that's not the marriage material because I'm okay with my sexuality, because I don't need a justification for it. I don't need to blame anything on trauma. I don't need to, it's not that. Like, you guys always want it to be something else, when the real problem is that you have a problem with women being empowered by their sexuality. Why is that?
I mean, I know Rock, he was going to say something. I don't want to take the show over, you know what I mean? Rock, go ahead and speak up on it, man.
I was just listening to what the young lady had to say about, the different views. And I mean, she is right. Us as black men, we do have like some type of privilege, I guess, to where like it's like I could fuck around, but you can't fuck around type shit. And when I was a younger guy, I'm not gonna lie, I used to have that same belief. But as I got older, when I was a child, I thought I was a child, but as a man, like, if you getting away with shit, then you gotta be able to basically accept what you dish out, if that makes sense. And it took me a while to learn that.
Hey, Rocky's like my uncle, y'all. Like for real, for real. Like that's really like my uncle. So that's like he literally speaks to everything he ever taught me. I remember it's just like when you're young, you grow up, you know, the way, even if you grow up in the church, the way the Bible is preached to you, it teaches you to try to have a really reserved woman. But then if you grow up in a different environment, you learn different things. So the contrast begins there for a lot of us Black kids that are raised in the church. And then just throughout all the media and everything, that's what's fed to you. But as you get older and as you start to go through like real life situations with women in multiple relationships and entanglements, you learn that double standard it's really just an immature thought. And that's one thing like Rocky really put me on game when I was coming of age. He was like, you can't be out here being mad if you out here doing wild and she doing wild. That's the name of the game, man. You gonna have to leave that childish like behavior alone. So I think eventually if you're a real man and like you really hit a point of maturity, you learn like shit, that's just the game. You know what I'm saying? That double standard is a myth and it's maybe a reality when you're younger, but it's those dudes who still hold on to that who are the most toxic fellas who women still get involved with, and they be the ones with the DV cases and the leaving the children behind because they can't deal with that reality. But if you're a real man and you done been out here doing your dirt, you understand you go get just as dirty. You know, they go shit on you the same way. So I think it's really a level of maturity thing, and then who's coaching you through this. Because if you ain't got nobody really put you on that game and educating you that it's equal out here in this playing field, you go out bad.
All I gotta say is, man, you know, I gotta agree in some ways, and then in some ways I don't agree. You know, in ways that I do agree is, you know, I don't think any man can, you know, set the standard for how much a woman should have sex. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, especially if she's doing her thing safely, you know what I mean, in a healthy situation also. So I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you know, a woman who chooses to exercise her, you know, her rights to her body however way she wants to, I think she's within that right. Now, with that said, I will honestly say that, you know, there are some limits to that, and you know how I am going to, me personally, respect a woman. You know, despite the fact that I think women should be allowed to do their thing and go out here and enjoy just as much as men, I do think that it needs to be a little bit different. And I mean, as far as, you know, sexual intercourse or partners, I don't think that, you know, any woman should, you know, be necessarily just competing or, you know, actually at the same level as her man. Just because, you know, when we start talking about double standards, you know, we have to understand that they do exist. And you know, you can't take this part away from me and how I believe in the fact that sex for men and women is different. You know, penetration versus, you know, having somebody enter your body is two different scenarios. Now, I'm not knocking any woman who has sex or does her thing with multiple men or, you know, exercises her rights. But I will say that there is no society where a woman who is just promiscuous and out there as much as a man is going to receive the same respect as a woman. You have to understand that there's give and take in everything. So you can be out here as a woman doing your thing however you would like to, but there are some things that you are going to lose as far as the respect that you get from men. And that's just natural. You know, men as men, it is more accepted, which it should, because there are plenty. And when I say plenty of double standards that work in the favor of women. So, you know, I'm never going to let go of the fact that, you know, a woman who's just out here recklessly, she'll never be respected like a woman who it has some sort of, who actually, you know, just minimizes how much that she's out in the streets.
Right. But see, my thing though with that is why though? And why are you the authority on that? And not like you specifically, but I mean just men, period. Like, why do you get to say this is respectable, this is not, but I'll do this with you behind closed doors, but out in public, this is not okay. And I'm not talking about like the raunchy female that's just, you know, out in the streets and just, you know, racking up bodies. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I am talking about is the female that is okay with her sexuality, the one that there's no reason to hide who you are. Like, why is it that you guys perceive the woman's sexual activities as her identity? Why does that become her identity? Like if you go out to Vegas with your boys for the weekend and some stuff pops off and you happen to have the best weekend of your life, real sexual, just real X-rated, You get to come back home and you get to be the community leader. You get to be, you know, the real estate agent, the nonprofit organization. You still get to be who you are and not have your sexual identity attached to it. But if I go out and have that same weekend and have that same fun, now I have to be a hoe. I'm no longer the IT professional. I'm no longer the counselor or the therapist. You don't see any of that. I'm the hoe that went and turned up on the weekend. Why is that?
I think that you're generalizing a little bit, you know what I mean? Because any man in any type of position who lets his sexual promiscuity out to the world, they're definitely going to be judged for that, especially today. So I mean, to say that a man, you know, I'm not going to say that, you know, man, I'm not going to say that men aren't, you know, treated a little bit differently than women in those situations, but men are definitely going to be judged, especially if you're in some type of position of power. And that's where I would kind of say, once again, even in my position as a real estate agent, you know, if I was to go ahead and go out and just like what you said, go to Vegas, go to these type of places and do something, then I'm going to do all of that stuff behind closed doors because of my station. I'm not going to just let everything that I do be known to the world, because there's certain people, especially kids, who look up to me, who don't understand how to navigate through some of those things. And then, you know, especially when you talk about why are men the ones who are the gate holders to deciding if a woman should be respected, it's kind of the same thing with the double standard of, once again, why is the mother to children always raised up the highest, even a little bit more than the father. And I think that's right in the natural home, because as a father, I think that we come second in the way of the children, and the wife are always supposed to come first. And as far as protection, as far as, you know, making sure all of these things are taken care of. So, I mean, you know, and I'm not getting into all of the double standards because we can talk a little bit more about that. But the point of it is that, you know, at the end of the day, there are certain things that are favored towards women. And I have no problem with a woman being completely open sexually, but she will give up some other things. So that's what women have to understand. You can't keep all of the respect and admiration that women in the past got because they were chaste. You can't keep all of that and be sexually free. You have to choose one or the other, and you have to determine what you are willing to sacrifice. Because once you allow yourself to be out there like a man and express yourself like a man, then you have to lose some of what you get on the feminine side. So that's my biggest thing, is you can't have everything. I have no problem with the woman being sexually free, but she will never get the same admiration and respect as a woman who's a little bit more chaste. Now that it depends on who you are, because I'm not saying that either one is better than the other, because you know what I mean? But you give and you lead, you give and you are, you know what I'm saying? You lose. You know what I'm saying? You can't have everything at once.
Hey, can I chime in
And
real
what do
quick?
you give up as men? Yes, please.
I was gonna say, I want to chime in real quick, because what I think, I kind of really have to agree with you on that, because I think that there's certain standards and like gender roles and things that are supposed to be enforced by both sides. And I think that what James is speaking to is like, yeah, there's supposed to be a level of respect when it comes to sexuality that women are supposed to hold up to. And I think the downside is that society actually really holds that harshly against them. Like, you have to reach that or we get to dragging you by your name, versus as the standards that men are supposed to hold themselves up to, like being a father, when we don't fulfill them, society does not bash us the same way. So when you get bashed for your standards and get bashed for the things that you're supposed to hold yourself
Society
to,
puts us in prison if we don't pay our child support and shit like that and take care of our kids. So we can't say that.
I agree
think
with that.
I mean that's true by the weight of the system, but I'm saying like socially. I'm talking by the weight of the system. Of course, black people in general, especially the black man, is attacked. But I'm saying in our community, who do we drag more down? The homie that ain't take care of his kid, or the neighborhood hoe? We gotta really like be sitting here and really be real
In
about
my
that.
world, we drag down both.
Both.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's
Like,
one. But this is my thing: is y'all grown men. Y'all are grown men. Y'all are
Don't
fathers.
fuck with the
I'm
homies
talking
that don't
about
take care of their kids.
in the younger years and still across the board. You got to remember, we're the minority here. At the end of the day, we're actually the part of the community that's functioning, taking care of our families, giving back. That's not the majority of our community, not by far at all. So what I'm saying is, for the general masses,
Yeah,
is we drag the neighborhood hoe way harder. We can name 10, 15 of our homies throughout the set that are kicking it with another 10 to 15 niggas that ain't taking care of their kids. You know what I'm saying? And then they all dragging down the same female that they all passing around. So I'm saying is maybe for us in this space that live correctly, yeah, that may be for the case. But for the people that we on this podcast and trying to reach to, that's not the same case. So that's what I'm saying is the weight of the system. I agree with y'all, but I'm saying in our community, we are dragging the women who is promiscuous way harder than we are dragging the fellas that maybe ain't got no job, that are out here selling dope. You know what I mean? We kind of give them a way better of a path when we get ladies that are sexually free. I think that's our problem. Society as a community, so we don't maybe enforce against the man as hard as we do against the woman, especially on sex. We don't never drag the man down who's sexually promiscuous, but we drag the woman down.
But we do drag men down for being weak and being soft. See, this is what I'm saying. You can't use that. You can't use that double standard against women and then point it over at men, because there are things that men get dragged on. There are things that women drag men on. It drag men on that have nothing to do with being a man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
James,
we're
let me
focused on the sex
50-50?
part.
But is it 50-50? Because that's when we interject privilege, and then that's when it's still, I feel
Once
like
again, you can't. Now you would have to go ahead and do a survey with everybody before we can start saying the 50-50 and generalizing and saying, okay, well, all men are treated like this. And see, that's what I don't like to generalize. So I don't think that you can say the whole community just bashes men and to the detriment, or bashes women and, you know, upholds men more. I just, that's generalizing.
It is, and so and you
can I say something?
Very good points, but we're moving a little bit away from the topic, because now we're talking about like double standards and, you know, different aspects of our life. But I wanted to kind of keep it more towards sex specifically, like that's where we're going. So I think before we move on, we're all in agreement that there is absolutely a double standard when there comes to sex. Some things that are okay for you guys, just, you know, across the board, are not okay for me, or at least are not okay for me to be proud about or publicize or whatnot, as a woman in general, not specifically, because we have to kind of speak in generals, because we're kind of being the voice for everybody, because we can't have a podcast with 6 billion people, so we got to speak in general. So we are in agreement that there is definitely a double standard when it comes to our attitudes about sex. So, good. With that being said, we are going to move on to sex. And I really don't want to spend a lot of time on this, because you guys took up the whole show last time, and we got a lot of stuff to get through in a short amount of time. With respect to having sex, you and I are fucking. Are we kissing while we're fucking? Is that a part of our lovemaking?
Why not? Shit. That's intimate, right?
It's extremely intimate.
Yeah, I like to fuck kissing and looking in the windows of your soul. You know what I'm saying? Let's say if we were to fuck. Not saying we fucking for all the viewers out there, but if we was, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to face to face with you. You know what I'm talking about?
So you face to face with randoms and everything too, though, huh?
With randoms? Hell nah. You didn't mention that, King Phillip.
No.
Hold on now.
Okay. So we're not,
I mean, I'm saying
we're not exactly talking about random sex, but though that was kind of good. He kind of brought that up. So imagine this, right? We got a jazz club, and I'm on one side of the room, you on the other side of the room. We lock eyes, we peep at each other, so we start talking. We have a good old time. We meet up at the house together. We grown. It's about to go down. You don't really know. I don't really know you, but we vibing. The vibe is good. The atmosphere is good, and we know that sex is about to jump off. Are you kissing me, or are you about to just dive right into it? Are we keeping up?
Shit. We already done caught each other's corona by then, so you know, to keep it all the way honest with you, shit. In my 20s, it might have went down like that. I've had some wild nights where it's went down like that. You feel me? So where do we go
in my 20s? Nah, nigga, keep that same energy.
What's your question now? Where do we go from here? So we just met. We finna fuck. Yes, I'm kissing. If we finna fuck,
you know, you still kiss them in the mouth, right? Don't play. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm saying, man, if you're gonna lay down with the woman, if I'm on, you know what I'm saying, fuck her, then if I don't think that she's worthy of being kissed, then I probably shouldn't be fucking her. Now, I will say that one thing is if you know what I mean, going out and you meet a random and y'all about to have sex and it is like, safe and condom, and then y'all like, we're not going to kiss because we don't want any exchange of bodily fluids, then I can say that that's safe. So, I mean, I'm not going to knock that. But me personally, the act of sex, I think kissing works in with me with the act of sex. So if I'm not going to kiss you, I'm not going to fuck you.
Same. I co-sign everything they say. I think you can't kiss me.
All right. Good. We need to hear that and know that, because for women, for me, kissing is huge. It's how my body relaxes, how I get ready. I know what's getting ready to happen. I'm anticipating it. I want it. Kissing just makes it that much better. So we appreciate that. So beyond the kissing, right? Because it's still not time to hop into the pussy. There's still work to be done. How do you guys feel
Gotta
about
get the
oral?
foreplay.
Yeah, the foreplay and the oral.
You know, we gotta get you
Are you
ready.
giving it? Do you only want it?
My
So
thing,
I'll
and,
put you on.
I jump in that thing. Hey, my thing with oral sex is straight like this. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. Even being young, I consider myself something of a player. You know what I mean? And I think of all of this stuff. And to be honest with you, this is the way I see oral sex. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit should only really be done by two people who are in a monogamous relationship. If you and the girl you messing with, now I'm not gonna say, obviously things get hot and heated, and I don't have no problem with doing adult things. But if you're not in a monogamous relationship, I don't think that you should be messing around with oral sex or any of that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not saying that I've necessarily, been guided by that, but that's how I would guide my children. You know what I mean? I think that you can have safe sex and, actually get that physical stimulation, you know what I mean, safely. But as soon as you start throwing oral sex in there, now we're talking about a whole different game. You know what I mean? So I just think that, honestly, that should be between two people who are together.
You're right. But in reality, you know what I'm saying? What show was it? I was watching inside, and the brother was like, "Man, he was supposed to do better than that." And his reply was, "Well, I go into a whorehouse and I know I'm not supposed to eat pussy, but that don't mean that I don't." You feel me? So you get what I'm saying? Like that's it's happened before where I'm nasty, and on top of that, like it's a way for me to like low key see if a female has something going on down there. Like, let me see it with the lights on. Let me look at that, get a taste to see if I want to move further. You feel me? That's some player shit though. Y'all don't know nothing about though. You know what I'm
No,
talking
you don't get a taste.
about?
No.
Hey man,
No.
hey y'all do y'all
You can
thing.
get a
Hey man, don't judge me. Shit on your
you can get one of
podcast.
those right there to see if anything's going on.
Hey, Pete, just make
You don't
sure
get
that
a
hey, just
taste.
make sure that shit on his lip ain't got no shit on his lip. You know what I
Some
mean?
shit on this.
Well, yeah, that's a way to make sure that you don't get nothing on your lip. Inspect that motherfucker with the lights on. And you do that by finessing like you getting a taste. You feel me? But, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go back to work. You know what I'm saying? They texting me and shit. I got a meeting to go to. Y'all
That's
stay
good.
blessed out there. And as far as sex, what I have to say about sex, y'all, as long as you honest with your partner, whoever you fucking with, and everybody get tested, and make sure you get tested. Don't be afraid to get tested. Don't be ashamed to get tested. I get tested every 3 months because, as y'all can see, I'm a little nasty out here in this motherfucking man. But y'all stay blessed, and I'm gonna tap in with y'all motherfuckers. This is right.
Bye.
Right on, right.
All right. So
I
keeping
mean,
in line.
yeah, even to that point too, I'm on the lines of, when you're growing up, there's different phases, like rites of passage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Certain shit that we were doing as kids in our early 20s and shit like that, you won't catch us doing in our 30s. And then I'm sure that folks is like, shit, I was doing in my 30s, I'm not doing in my 50s and 60s. So coming back to the oral, you know what I mean? Me, myself, if we don't vibe, if we're not here, You know what I mean? First, before anything. Then I'm not getting nowhere near, you know what I mean? You know, and so that's me sober minded. You know, me intoxicated might be having some other thoughts and with whatever goes down, you know what I mean? So, you know, there's different levels and stuff too. So I don't know.
Okay. So with the so is the expectation though, so if I do you, you're gonna do me? Or are you just gonna let me do you and then tell me you don't do that?
Hey, like Rocky said, I think it's a level of honesty. You feel me? Like off the get, I'll let it be known. Like you can go ahead and do me, but I'm not doing you. Like off the get, and that's your choice. We can still go ahead and further into this. It's not a requirement for me, but I just think that at least just in my partaking, especially to give that to you, that's a level of affectionate intimacy that I try to save. You know what I mean? I try to be generally a little bit more reserved about sex for my age in general, but like even if we're just in the beginning, we have already gone there. I still feel like that's a different level because I think that's a different kind of showcasing your love. So if you want to go ahead, it's like a I love you thing. If you want to say you love me before I say I love you, that's cool. I'll accept your love, but I'm a little bit more hesitant to give my love to you.
Okay, so Huff's not turning down no head, but he's not eating no pussy. Okay.
That's that's exactly it. That's exactly.
I mean, that's why we're talking about it.
Man, I learned from the best, man. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, I never forget I read Corinne Steffen's Superhead book. And I'll never forget her talking about, the men that she messed with. And one of them she came to was Jay-Z. And she was talking about when she messed with Jay-Z, they went off somewhere. He took her in the car. I think she gave him oral, but he put a condom on first.
He put a condom on.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's easy to get caught up in the grips of, passion and sex and doing whatever. But man, in order to keep yourself safe and in order to really value your life, you need to make sure that you only exchanging fluids with certain people. So, I mean, I'm just big on that, especially when thinking about my daughter.
So, with putting the condom on the dick before you suck it, you can certainly do that because they have condoms with flavors and all kinds of stuff. There's dental dam. You can protect the pussy the same way. So, for every problem, there is a solution.
Hey, I'm with that. I'm with that, Nietzsche, as long as it's safe.
Woman, right? There shouldn't be a problem with sucking dick. That's a part of sex. But there should be some reciprocation there too. This is not the barrier. It's not this is where I draw the line. Like, you can definitely suck my dick, it feels great, but I'm not gonna put my tongue in your pussy. That we're not going for that. That's a problem for us as Black women. And it seems like Black men don't really care to, eat pussy unless they are deep into a relationship. That takes time. That takes years. But if we're dating, if we're in a good relationship, we in that first year, whatever, we having sex, we fucking, and I'm sucking your dick and you're enjoying it and you're allowing me to do it, then there should be that same respect for what about my needs? What about what feels good to me?
You better get that. You better get that in writing up front. You know what I mean? Because if you do it to me, all I'm saying is that once you sacrifice yourself and do it to me first, then you better make sure I'm not, because I'm one of them people that's a give and receive. So if I have no problem. If I receive, I ain't got no problem with giving. But at the same time, if you just in love with giving and not even caring, there's plenty of women who suck dick and don't mind not getting a pussy. Yay. So I mean, you better make sure who you with.
And that's what I was gonna ask y'all. See, as I get older, I don't know if it's just the demographic I'm fucking with, but it don't seem to be that case. Like, as you get older, it seems like these girls like, hell no, like, I'm not, if you ain't eating some pussy, I'm not sucking dick. So I don't know if that's like, is that the truth as you get older? You know what I'm saying? Or is like, does the trend stay? You know what I'm talking about?
No. A woman should mature and that kind of go out the window. Because like when you're younger, it's a give and take. Like, I'll do you if you do me. That's challenge. Because first of all, if she's sucking dick, she should enjoy it to some degree. Otherwise, you shouldn't be doing it. You're raping your mouth if you're not enjoying what you're doing. So even if maybe my man is not in the mood to necessarily do me that day, but I'm doing it not because it's something that he just wants, it's because I enjoy it also, because I am receiving sexual gratification from that. So we're curious if men receive sexual gratification from giving oral to women.
Well, I mean, maybe that's the whole thing. Like the whole concept behind it is that women are givers usually in sex, and as men is more so takers, and that's just kind of how like we're raised. Like that's how we're sexualized. So maybe that's why the trend, just throwing that thought out there. Maybe that's why the trend is so much there is that men don't give because we don't look at it psychologically as we're gaining, sexual satisfaction. As women, you said there are a lot of women that just enjoy sucking dick, but maybe it's a psychological.
Okay. Well,
It
that's all
sounds like
right.
the
So,
hood mentality.
so
Sounds
if
like that hood mentality, man. You know what I'm saying? Like for real.
Mhm.
I don't know where these men, I don't know how you find all of these men who are like this. You know what I'm saying? I think that, it pleases me to please. You know what I mean? And I think that anybody who's interested in sex, you're gonna run into women who don't want to suck dick. You don't want to run into men who don't want to eat no pussy at all. My point of it is that's not across the whole board and not across black men. It's such a generalization because you run into hood niggas. Like, you know what I mean? Straight. And I consider myself something of a hood nigga, but I'm talking about you got to go
Bricks,
deep to
nigga.
find niggas who's all the way against. You know what I mean? That's a
He's in them
mentality.
trenches.
Yeah.
All
all
right.
right, so working our way down this list, it doesn't just stop with the oral, right? So we still haven't made it to penetration, but there's still a whole thing of foreplay. Foreplay includes other things other than oral. So what is foreplay to you though? When you hear that, when I say foreplay, we gotta have foreplay before we have sex. What does that mean to you? Softly quiet.
Hey, I'm the young nigga in here, so y'all my OGs. Go ahead and step that up.
Hey, bro, I want to get, I'll jump in there, but Huff, I want to hear from you first. What's foreplay to the young niggas?
Yeah, I want to hear from the young nigga.
Hey, okay, so all right, so I'm gonna give.
Dice is
You know
foreplay.
what I'm
Shit,
saying?
what you mean?
I'm gonna give. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give an answer for my generation, and then I'm gonna try to give my personal answer. All right. So generationally speaking, I think niggas just think of it as giving head and eating pussy. Like I think that's it. Like personally, you know what I'm saying? I've been in some relationships with some young ladies who are older than me and a little bit more sexually experienced. So like it definitely taught me like more of the like deep intimate side, like all the way from just setting the arena just for like the music, all the way just down to touching, using different like using items like food items, using ice, like you know what I'm saying, using all different parts of the body, massage oils, all that kind of stuff. It's usually like the more deep intimate side for me, and like using all your body parts from your hands to your mouth, you know what I'm saying, just setting the whole tone. So I don't think a lot of fellas really get to that level with a woman to understand like just the little nuances that a person enjoys, where they like being touched, how they like being kissed, where they like being kissed. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a lot more to it, but I think foreplay is really, that's why I said I was gonna pass it to y'all first, because I think that's a grown thing. Like I said, I've never experienced foreplay like when I was younger, 18, 19 now, but when I started getting into my junior, senior year having sex with women that was like much older than me, it was like, okay, this is like the taking the time part to get to know the body. So that's my answer to that.
I mean, and even to that point too, there's levels. You know what I mean? Foreplay is different at different levels, and I think even at a certain age, women is like fuck the foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I had one experience where it was an older woman. You know what I mean? I was like 20, 23, 22, and she was like 42. You know what I mean? And I pulled up at a hotel, she opened the door in a robe and was like, boom, got hers and was like, okay, you can go. I ain't even get mine off. You know what I mean? So like even looking at foreplay to that point, how often are we expected foreplay? How often are we expected to put the whipped cream on your nipples and suck the whipped cream and off your nipples, and you know what I mean, put the honey on your punai, you know what I mean, and like the how often do we supposed to do all that? That's what I'm asking.
And then for me, I ain't no lies. I always been an extremely like touchy-feely person. You know what I mean? So like I'm not gonna lie to you, like I love a woman's body. You know what I'm saying? So I got homeboys. It was funny. I never forget one of my homeboys. We was like 25, 26. and this nigga had still never got completely naked having sex. Like leave shoes on, his only pull his pants down around his ankles. That's
Come
how
on,
he
no
had
sex,
sex.
no
And this is what I'm
draws.
talking about, real hood niggas. I'm talking about real hood niggas. And this is why I say, like, you got to know who you're dealing with, because that shit threw me off. Because I'm like, bro, how do you not get all the way naked and have sex? I mean, literally, had sex with a bunch of women, had never taken his clothes off the whole way one time. Anyway, I say that because, like I said, I've always been completely different, even young. Like, so I've never been the type of person that could just jump in there. Like, I like getting warmed up. You know what I mean? So I like touching a woman's whole body. I like the kissing, the sucking. You know what I mean? All of that type of stuff to warm up for the situation. So, I mean, for me, like, foreplay is a part of it. I don't think that foreplay is, obviously there's certain times where y'all might have a couple of minutes and, you know, you just got to get into it. You know what I mean? And that might happen too. But, you know, for me, I enjoy foreplay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And, you know, so, and Phillip, you're so silly. Like, foreplay is not putting whipped cream on my nipples and honey on my pussy. That's some extra shit. Like, we turned up having a good ass time and we're doing shit. That's no.
So baby oil
is
joy.
yeah, no, you don't gotta do that every time, because I might need that whipped cream for my smoothie in the morning. I ain't got time for you to be wasting it on my titties. What the fuck? But if it was your birthday or something, then yeah, shit, crack that shit out and I'll go to the grocery store tomorrow. What I'm saying is, with the foreplay, that's the exploration of the body. And especially like if we're having sex, and like even if it's the beginning, maybe I haven't had sex with you yet. I want to touch your dick. I want to see how big it is. I want to see how it reacts to my touch. I want to smell you. I want to kiss you. I want to lick your neck. I want to, you know, get to where, you know, something is going to make you shiver or tingle. That is what foreplay is. That is, like you said, James, getting the body warmed up. Like, you're not about to just hop into some pussy. Pussy don't work that way. It's not just ready and wet on it. It's not a fucking pizza. It's not. This is not Little Caesars, and this shit down here is not hot and ready. This shit needs to be cooked, prepped, creamed, and then pulled out of the oven. So you need to kiss me. You need to explore. You need to touch. You need to finger. That is what foreplay is, and that should happen the majority of the time when you're having sex, when you have time for it. Now, if you're doing that little quickie where y'all sneak off to the bathroom at the family cookout and it's real quick, pull that skirt up, do what you got to do, and get the hell out that bathroom. That's different. But if we're at home and we got time, you got time. You need to make some time. We need to touch each other, and it needs to feel good. That's what foreplay looks like to us as women. So we want to get on the same page with y'all so that we looking at the same shit. Phillip looking for whipped cream and I'm waiting for him to finger me and we not even in the same room. How the fuck we gonna get off? You know what I'm saying? That no.
In the fridge, like, what the fuck the whipped cream at?
Hey, Nisha, now I gotta ask a question. All right, now because I be doing therapy with myself. All right, so check it out. You know what I mean? I have a question just because, you know, so this is the thing where I have a little bit of disconnect even with women. Like, I was having this conversation, you know, when you have kids, it's harder to set apart that time, you know what I mean, and make sure everything is all right. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, every now and then when you have kids and you starting a family or that type of stuff, sometimes sex gets put on the back burner. Now, one thing that kind of throws me off as a man is that, you know, I do like the spontaneity of sex too. I like foreplay and all that, but I'm not necessarily like a plan. And like, I don't need you to get all dressed up and you know what I mean? Something that you just bought from Fascinations. You know, I can get, you know what I'm saying, aroused, and we can do this just by regular everyday shit. And this was funny because I was telling, you know, my child's mom, you know what I mean? We had a situation like that. And I mean, I appreciate the effort. But, you know, it's more like I can take care of all of that stuff just how you are. It seems like women go above and beyond sometimes to the point of where they start doing shit that doesn't even matter to the situation. So, you know, I think it's a delicate balance because sometimes you can have the woman doing too much, the man not doing enough, or vice versa. So, you know, it's just kind of hard.
I absolutely agree with that. And that is definitely something that needed to be said and heard. Sometimes we go a little overboard because I think it's a projection of what we would kind of want. So instead of communicating that to you and being like, babe, I really would like a really romantic night. You know, I want to get dressed up and feel sexy, get some candles, do this or that. We do it and show it to you. And you're like, babe, I don't need all that. You just got off work, run that pussy through the water real quick and come on in this room. Like we forget that sometimes. It's like we need to be more communicative of that, especially if we're to a level where we're fucking, we're sucking, we're putting our mouths on each other's body parts and things like that. We should be able to talk to each other. We should be able to communicate those things. Baby, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And that kind of goes into like sexual expectations versus reality. And you're right, James. Like the reality is it's not going to be all sexy and just well put together all the time. Sometimes it's going to be a, hey, we both just got off work and we feeling freaky, let's go do some stuff if we can get rid of the kids kind of thing. And we need to, you know, be more communicative of that and understand the difference between the sexual expectations and the reality of what sex actually is to us in our individual relationships. So I want to ask you guys, with respect to sexual expectations versus reality, where did you learn about sex? Was it from a lot of porn? Was it from your friends that were fucking before you, or was it just stuff you thought of in your head? Where did you guys learn to do what it is that y'all do?
I don't know if we learned. I'm gonna say that. You know what I mean? I just think we just came across the shit and we just fuck it. But I honestly don't know. I'm gonna say, you know, just first of all, we had the sex ed class number one, and that was to pique the curiosity. You know what I mean? And then I'm hearing, you know, the homies getting some cutty and stuff like that. You know, we didn't have no porns at the house, you know what I mean? But my next door neighbor, I found his stash. You know what I mean? He had a box full of VHS tapes. This is before the DVDs and stuff started coming out, you know what I mean? So, you know, me seeing what they were doing in the porn, it wasn't like I had a dad to sit down and tell me, all right, son, this is how you're supposed to lay the pipe down. You know what I mean? This is how you're supposed to please a woman. It wasn't that kind of conversation. And I think that's part of our problem too. We don't have those conversations.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know if you was gonna jump in. So yeah, I'm a new school baby. You know what I'm saying? I was born with Google. You know what I mean? I was born with Google. So definitely porn. Definitely for my generation. Like porn, definitely I would say like for a majority of my friends, like we definitely all learned everything because we ain't had no dads, like you said, Phil. We ain't had no dads coming around teaching us how to please a woman. And our teacher men how to, you know, properly go about having sex. So like porn definitely marked my generation. And then as you get older, like for me, it was a unique experience because I had an aunt that's like really religious, like extremely into the faith. So she like very much pressured me to save my virginity all the way throughout my high school year. So like for me it was like literally just learning nothing from the homies or learning everything from the homies. It wasn't until I got to college before I broke freedom that literally anything I learned from what the homies were telling me or what porn is just in that space is when I just I went free. So that's why like college was such a unique space. And I have such a like maybe a different perspective about sex in general, because it's like when you're up there, just you get to explore sexually a little bit more free. Like in the hood hoe is not ragged on the way the college hoe is, like not at all. They're not even in the same conversation. So like sometimes I look at the contrast and I see that the environment plays so much of a role is. So I think how I learned about sex and the reality of sex for me being in college, being my only experience before I got out of college and start having sex separate away from that environment. I think it molded my experience completely different.
You know, for me, even like my sexual, like how I view sex, I think it came from a bunch of different things. Because it's funny, even talking to y'all about the hood niggas versus, you know, other people and certain shit that hood niggas ain't gonna do or don't want to do because, you know, we live in that machoism, you know what I'm saying? I ain't, you know what I'm saying, doing this, doing that. But then I was around a lot of white people who didn't, where a lot of those rules didn't necessarily fly. They were more open, you know what I'm saying, with sex. So, you know, the kissing and all that different type of stuff, it never came into thought. You know, I never heard a bunch of white boys sitting around talking about, like, man, you didn't kiss her. You know, like they're more apt to eat pussy, more apt to kiss. So, I mean, mine was molded by all of these different circumstances. You know what I'm saying? I will tell y'all that. Now, with that said, I mean, I would think most of what I learned sexually, honestly, a lot of it did come from porn for sure. You know what I'm saying? But then a lot of it, and especially what I really like, really came from my experiences. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, being with multiple women or different women over the years, it's kind of crazy just because you learn from being with multiple women that people are different with sex. You know what I mean? I've been with the white girl who has given me oral sex and made me orgasm twice in a row. You know what I'm saying? Like immediately. You know what I'm saying? Then I've been with women who weren't good at oral sex. I've been with women who, you know, desired me so much that, you know, they want to push it, you know what I'm saying? Which is in turn makes me want to, you know what I'm saying, be more apt to be in tune with sex. But then I've been with women, especially I bring up my child's mom, and not to just put all my shit in there, but she's a lot more reserved. She doesn't press it. It's something that I have to do. And that's even, you know what I'm saying, a hard thing in our relationship, or, you know, with us dealing with each other. But you know, a lot of it came from, I would say, porn and experiences, more so experiences from what I really like.
Just
And
learning.
man, I want to speak to that shit, James. A funny story, man. I'll never forget when I was in Durango. I was working with my boss, this white dude named Lucky, and he said the illest shit I ever heard. He was talking about smashing a girl in the bar, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll probably go down on her, but I won't eat her ass." And I was like, "That's your meter, my nigga." It's like, nigga, that's your meter. I was like, eating ass is real. Like, that's when you start taking shit serious. So like, I feel you on that. Like, if that's the realest shit you ever said, man. Because when you go around white people, they shake the sexual experience, especially being with a lot of white women, like the foreplay and everything. I feel like that is, you see that much more in the black community. Is what I experience. Like, black woman wants the time to see their body explored, get to know. White women like, let's get to it. That's because they look at you like, oh my gosh, you're a prize, you're a trophy. The way they fetishize you, they want to get to the action of embracing and feeling you at the pinnacle well before actually getting to know the intimate sides of you. So like, it being in those separate realities, being around a lot of white people and being around that and molding you sexually versus being around a lot of black people. I think that for the black man, that causes a lot of contrast for us, and a lot of like a problem going into a relationship with a black woman if we've been with a lot of white women, because white women, they just be so ready to go. Like, they just be so ready with it. And then you get with a sister who may be at her pinnacle, the same goer, be in the same way, but it's just like, damn, I got to go through all this levels of kissing you, getting to know you, rubbing on your body, doing everything. But with the white woman, it's just like, she's about to get with it immediately. So I just had to speak to that, James. That's just some real shit you said.
So it sounds like, so the destination is the same, but the route's a little different. Do you rather hop on the highway to take the back streets?
Hey, I'm talking about, you got I'm talking about clear highway, 95 mile an hour speed limit. That shit, you flying down that motherfucker. I'm talking about you going. But a black woman is 220.
With the back, you get to see more. You get to do more. Just keep that in mind. You're kind of young, so don't forget.
No, I'm with that. I'm on that side. Don't let me. Hold on. I was just explaining. I'm on the other side.
I'm messing with you. But you brought up something. So this is going to be a little sensitive. I don't really want to spend a lot of time on this, but how do you guys feel about anal?
I'll jump in there real quick. Hey, man, I'm not going to lie to you, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, the wild thing is that every woman these days wants a finger in their ass some kind of way, something. That's just what it is. All of y'all, like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. And I ain't going to lie to you, I never been into anal. Like, that's one of my things, like, where I kind of, like, I'm good. Like, I'm cool with pussy. Like, me personally, I don't really need. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, man. It's funny that Phillip said levels. As you get, you know what I mean? You know, we together for some time, we married. Like, I think that stuff kind of comes down the line. But you know what I mean? I'm not really into necessarily like meeting some woman or even knowing her for a short amount of time. And I definitely ain't eating no ass. And I really have no, I really have no desire to have anal sex. I'm not going to lie. And I know a lot. I've had women tell me straight up, I understand that I'm cutting a lot of women out of my life by saying that, because I respect that it's more at these days. Everybody's having anal, everybody's eating anal, all of that. So I mean, but that's not necessarily my thing.
I mean, and it makes it hard to compete. You know what I mean? For those who ain't eating no ass, who ain't going no deep, knees deep in no ass. You know what I mean? And that's my thing as well. You know, I'll be quick to, you know what I mean, go back. You know what I mean? Y'all know what that is right there. But I'm saying, like, you know, I've had anal sex one time, and it was with a white girl, and it was just, I looked down like, oh shit, that ain't supposed to happen. You ain't supposed to have that in there. You know what I mean? So that kind of fucked me up. But you know, that's just me personally. Like my man James said, I'm good with the coochie. You know what I mean? I just goose the coochie. That's it.
Like James said, I think that's real shit. Like there's levels to this, and I think that, like I always model, man. Like when I was in college, I really feel like I went wild enough. So I think that if I had a wife, you know what I'm saying, I think when you step before God and marry a woman, everything that's, you know what I'm saying, that's still heterosexual. I don't give a hell who you are. As long as you're a man, you got to stay heterosexual. Nothing should penetrate you. But once you get married to a woman, you know, biblically speaking, whatever she desires, you got to give it to her. You know what I mean? So I think that once you marry a woman and you've been there and you step before God, if she wants it in her ass, nigga, you better put it in her ass. And that's just what it boils down to. You know what I mean? If you tongue, dick, whatever it is. So like, that's how I am. And I ain't got no problem. I think that's why you got to blend love and sex together, man. As I mature a little bit faster, I just realized that if you want the full experience with somebody, you got to have that love, because then you get to talk about shit like this, and you can't even, this uncharted territory for anybody other than your wife. Anybody other than your wife.
Levels of trust. I agree with you. You can't do everything necessarily right at the beginning, but there should be an openness, maybe a willingness to work some of those things out as you progress through a relationship with someone and you guys are continuing to explore and grow sexually. Maybe something that you're willing to do further in the future. But I think that I think it's safe to say for our Black men and our women, for the majority of us, the anal is a hard no, at least for right now. And then we're like, well, if I get married, maybe we could talk about it. But if I ain't got no ring, that's not what's going on. So that's okay. And that is perfectly fine. So we don't got to worry about that. So moving right along.
It just scares me. I'm just going to say this. The nastiest shit that I've ever heard that happened in sex is always started with anal. That's all I got to say about that.
That's terrible. I can imagine. So we did have a question. The women did have a question. We wanted to know what's going on with the moaning. You guys are awfully quiet. We like to hear noises. We like to feel the vibrations on our skin. We want to know that you like it. Am I doing something that's good? Am I doing something that's bad? Does it hurt? Or does it feel good? What is going on with the quietness? Why is there that need to, that unconscious need to just be hard? Like, it's just me and you. Scream, act like a bitch if you need to. If it feels good, it feels good.
I mean, you know what? You know, for
y'all men, do not listen to Nisha on that one. I am not hearing that shit. Bro, you gonna go scream in somebody's room and they gonna be talking about you for the rest of your life, bro.
For the rest of your life,
that shit, bro.
You're buried. You're buried, my guy. You're buried.
I mean, the thing is, too, you know, I don't, you know, men, or I'm gonna say for me, you know, I'm not a moaner. I'm not a screamer. I do like make a high pitched noise when I do climax. You know what I mean? So they do know what it is. But I'm a shit talker. You know what I mean? Like I'm a coach too. Like, yeah, go ahead, do that. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm a coach, and I'm gonna talk some shit too. You know what I mean? That's my thing. You know what I mean? So the moaning and stuff, I might even say your name. You know what I mean? Just to make it intimate. You know, if I say your name, that's intimate. Yeah.
Man, I had an experience with a girl who I honestly had probably some of the best sex with in my life. And you know, I'm like, Phil, I get in there and start talking some shit too. But I ain't gonna lie to you. I was talking to her. She told me blatantly, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? For real. So you need to, hey, after that, hey, I shut up and I just did what I had to do. I went extra hard. But sometimes they don't. It all depends on the woman. Some women don't want to hear too much shit. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
you guys are talking about talking. I'm not talking about talking. If I'm on top of you, if I'm riding you and it feels good, You need to be moaning. I need to know that it feels good so that I can continue doing what I'm doing. Because if you just start laying there like you a dead body, I'm getting the fuck off. I need to know that that pussy gripping on that dick feels good. That you're like, yes, God, please, more. Yes.
That's when you gotta talk though. But like that's men though. But that's men. Like we not about to be sitting there like doing all that shit. Like that's not our nature. You know what I'm saying? We go when we talking that shit, that's our expression. You know what I'm saying? When we coaching you, that's our expression. So that's something that women gonna have to accept. We ain't asking you to coach. We ain't asking you to tell us, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We ain't asking you for that. We're not
fucking me from behind and telling me to call you daddy. You're not. You guys don't do that.
Hey, I disagree with her. I just don't think there's not gonna be that much like moaning. I'll tell you the most that you're gonna get from me on the moaning side. Like I'll tell you, it feels good. I might inch up to your ear and like you know what I mean, maybe give you a slight moan so you know it feels good. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna be sitting here like, nah.
You gotta whisper in her. You gotta whisper in her ear. You gotta whisper in her ear. A rip.
Y'all fools.
Rip.
Right. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and bring this to a close. A rip. I think we covered a lot of ground. I definitely think that sex is something that is, definitely needs more than an hour to get through. But the point of all of this was that you can have fun with sex. Sex doesn't have to be something that people are ashamed of or something that's, whispered about in alleys and dark rooms and stuff. We need to be, as a community, as sisters, as brothers, whatever, we need to be more open about things. We need to talk about things. We need to be able to laugh about stuff and make jokes because we need to be comfortable. We're sexual beings. We are born to procreate some more. We are born to have sex. And it needs to be something that's enjoyed by both parties, all parties, whatever it is that you like, whatever gets you off, it needs to be celebrated, not looked at as something bad, not something to be ashamed of. And that's why we needed to talk to the women. We needed to talk to the men. We need to talk together because sex is not, it shouldn't be something that's hidden. I'm not saying exposing it to our kids or anything like that. That's a whole bunch of other stuff. But as adults, consenting adults, having sexual fun, having a good time and getting each other off, that is okay. And we really need to change the narrative with that. And as a people, we need to get more comfortable. We need to embrace sex. That's all that is. And so I had a really good time talking with you guys today. You guys are awesome. I love y'all to death. And I hope we can do this again soon.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
indeed. Much love,
Bye,
man.
guys.
Hey, that's gonna take me the whole day. Real.
All right.
All right.
All right, have a good one.